Yes. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So in the last class, we had looked at different types of linkage. That is complete linkage, which is the genes are very closely associated and they go together in the gamete formation, and that's when the parental combination is always formed and there is no recombinant type. And the incomplete linkage is where the parental combination will be formed, but the recombinants are also formed. That is when the genes are little distant from each other, and that is what will give rise to the incomplete linkage. So these were the two. Yes.
Like in complete linkage, even if the genes are very close together, there is a chance that non-parental combinations will be formed, right?
Correct.
So why do we even keep that term? I mean, isn't it like not possible in real life?
So the majority of the times, these genes they will be together in the gametes. Like the chance of having them separated is very less or almost like rare, and that is when we call it as still a complete linkage. Yeah? I guess that is what we will study in the next part, that is crossover. So there these things are kind of repetitive and we might get a little more clarity on this particular aspect.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so that was complete and incomplete linkage. Now what we have is the factors which affect this linkage. So whether complete or incomplete, in general, what are those factors which affect the linkage? So it's obviously distance. Depending on the distance, which are close and which are farther, the linkage will be different, and ultimately the gamete formation will be different. So again, I will not discuss this part because we have done enough of this. Age of an organism, usually with increasing age, the chances of crossing over are reduced because the cell division happens at a reduced rate. So ultimately the linkage will also happen less, and that way. And also what we say, because the cell division is less, the protein formations are less, so that synaptonemal complex during the meiosis phase, that may not be so strong. So all these factors which are age related, they can affect the linkage, and hence the strength of the linkage decrease over the older ages. Same is the case with temperature. Of course, temperature is one of the major factor where the again increase in temperature will cause a reduction in the strength of linkage. And the reason being, again, temperature will distort all those protein structures which are involved in the linkage and for ultimately in the gamete formation and so on, right? So that way temperature will also affect. Same is the case with X-rays. They can cause changes in the either in the form of mutation or creation of the heat, and again it will cause disturbance in the linkage of these genes. So that way these factors they affect. There will be similar factors even for the crossover, which we'll see, and I will tell you as and when it comes. So these are the different factors which can affect the linkage. Again, for your reference, I have kept a link here if you want to read more on this. And the linkage maps is one thing which is related to the distance, which we'll be seeing in the chromosomal mapping portion. But that link is also being given here with respect to the distance. Okay, so now we come to the next part after linkage is the crossing over and recombination. Linkage specifically refers to the tendency of the two genes being very close, in very close association with each other on the same chromosome in a linear fashion. That's what we called as linkage. Now, crossing over is the exchange of corresponding parts between chromatid. Like whatever we had seen in the meiosis, a portion of that red chromosome exchanging with the blue chromosome, some sort of that type of exchange, which is a physical exchange between two chromatids or sister chromatids, or can be with two different chromatids of the homologous chromosome pair, and that is called as crossing over. Again, there are various types of crossing over. So that's when I said it can be between two sister chromatid of the same chromosome, or it can be between the homologous pair of chromosome. So there are several possible combinations. We will see.
So,
Yeah.
but if it happens between the same chromosome, then it's useless, right? Because then it's the same thing.
Correct. But the purpose is not to always make it useful. Purpose is natural course of action there. So when the cell division happens, those protein complexes, they will not recognize whether it's the same sister chromatid we are exchanging or we are exchanging different sister chromatid. That's when there is multiple crossing over as well, which happens, which can exchange the parts of the chromosome. Now, if by chance, if the number of genes and the type of genes present in that exchange part is same, then we will say, okay, what is the purpose of doing this, right? And that is what is the case with most of the homologous pair of chromosome. But in natural course of action, that does happen. But again, these are like rare events. Majorly, what happens is the exchange, like what leads to ultimately variation. That's what happens at the major percentage. So that is what is crossing over, and it is one of the small aspect of your meiosis process, where the exchange of material or the chromatids happen. Now, the phenomena of separation of this linked gene to form a new combination of the parental gene is recombination. Again, this also we had seen earlier. What does it mean by recombination? And the offspring with new combination characters, they are called as recombinants. And this also we had seen. But with respect to crossing over, these will be still be called as same. Now, yeah.
Crossing over and recombination are the same thing.
Sorry.
So crossing over and recombination, there's no difference between them.
So crossing over is that mere physical process where the chromatids, they cross with each other, right? And the actual separation of those linked or incompletely linked genes from the parental genes and then forming that gametes is called as recombination. So crossing over is a short process. Recombination is whole of that separation up to gamete formation. That is recombination.
Okay, two
Right?
different aspects.
Yeah. So like first crossing over will happen, or if it has to happen. If it doesn't have to happen, then there will be no recombination. But let's say if the crossing over happens, then the four gametes that are formed in the process of meiosis, they are said to be going through recombination after crossing over. Yeah, and whatever gametes are formed, that is the offspring with new combination of character. Offspring here doesn't literally mean offspring, it actually means the gametes which will give rise to the offspring. So the gametes with a new combination of the character, they are called as recombinants. Now, so the mechanism of crossing over, and this is again the same mechanism which happens in the meiosis process. I don't know if you, we surely did not do it last year because there was the cell cycle chapter, which I had asked you to self-study. But like this small part, we can surely look at like here now, that is the crossing over and the mechanism by which this happens. So there are these four steps: synapses, duplication of the chromosome, that is actually a part of the prophase, and you might remember those terminologies: diplotin and zygotin stage, and so on. So those stages will be involved in this. Then the third stage here is actual crossing over and the chiasma formation. Again, this term you would have heard. What is chiasma? That is the position when the chromosomes, they are crossed to each other. That position is called chiasma, which we'll see. And terminalization, that is the final formation. So these are the four steps in the mechanism of crossing over. Now let me show you the diagram first. So we all know this, that the at the end of pre-meiotic, that is the synthesis phase, you will already have duplicated chromosome, that is the pair of sister chromatids. They will arrange themselves in a certain manner, like condensed forms, what we call, that is the leptotene stage. Then in the zygotine stage, there are these sites for the chiasma. I forgot the full form of SC, but these are the sites where they can allow the crossing over. So if you look at this particular diagram, you can assume these yellow points that are being shown here. These are actually these sites where the crossing over can happen. And these are bivalent. Then they bivalent means there are two copies of this. And then this is the Pachytene stage, diplotin stage, and the metaphase one where they will align at this metaphase plate or the equatorial plate. And that way, then they further, after, if at all they have to cross over, they will exchange the material after this chiasma formation, or rather here in this space exactly, and then they will lead to the separation of the sister chromatid in telophase and anaphase. So that is just a quick overlook of this process. Yes.
Sir, could you repeat what the yellow part is?
Yellow part is just the site of this chiasma formation. If you look at this particular, what you say, the site, that is where the two sister chromatids, they are going to cross over with each other. That means they are going to exchange that part. And
So what about the other diagram, like
which,
where it's like a sandwich, like
this one?
Yeah, leftmost.
This is just the formation of that, what we call as synaptonymal complex. I guess SC stands for that, synaptonymal complex, but I'm not too sure. So synaptonymal complex is the one which is a kind of protein junction, which will be placed at the site of the crossing over. And it actually looks like it's like it can hold two chromosomal structures. So synaptonymal complex, here it is. Structure, I should write structure. So that yellow thing that is being shown, I am not too sure, not this one.
So like the yellow thing in one diagram, it was at some places, at the other it was like
So correct. So this is when it starts to form the complex, right? And then the whole chromosome has to pass through that complex. And that is when it will only allow the specific chiasma formation. That is where the two of the sister chromatids, they will be linked to each other, or rather two chromosomes.
So at a, like there is a stage where the two sister chromatids of homologous, like different homologous chromosomes, they are linked at every point.
Not linked at every point. The diagram is not correctly shown here. Ideally, that is when I wanted to show you this part. So I don't know, where is the structure exactly given? Can't really see it here. What is this? Not really. They also haven't given. So let me say protein. Protein. Not really clear. Not again. Yeah. So you can see here. So let's say if this is the synaptonymal complex, the whole of the chromosome has to go through whole of the complex, and that is when it specifically causes this what we say joint. Now here, if you look at the representation of those yellow dots, or you would simply assume synaptonymal complex is only present at the end, but that is not the case. The whole of the chromatin or whole of the chromosomal structure has to go through the synaptonymal complex. So it is like kind of tunnel like arrangement from which you pass through. So that way the specific chromatid structures, they will pass through that synaptonymal complex, and then they will form these certain joints. That is what we call as chiasma. Did you get this now? Kind of. Pratham?
So there is a point where the synaptonymal complex is between the two chromatids,
Hmm.
and like the chromatids won't pass through the complex, right? It's more like the complex is passing through the chromatids.
Yeah, means like literally that way, but it's not the chromatid is not passing through. Sorry, the complex is not passing through the chromatid. Actually, the chromatids pass through the complex. Again, this is a two-dimensional structure. That's when I gave you the analogy of tunnel. Yeah, it's probably just a small portion of the synaptonymal complex that is being represented here, but it is not as such. What is this one? See, I'm not sure if they mean to show this block-like structure. That is the complex. So the specific arrangement. Now, again, this is just a two-dimensional representation. Imagine this whole thing in the three-dimensional, and these individual strands, they are passing through one complex of the synaptonymal complex, and this other strand is passing through again the one portion of the synaptonymal complex, and this is like a whole protein bunch all together, through which individually the chromatids are going, and wherever that crossing over has to happen, this certain proteins, they change their shape due to, of course, the utilization of ATP and so on. That's a like, typical biomolecular process, and then those chromatids will be flipped over. Like, let's say this part has to come to down and this down part has to go up, so this switching of the complex will happen. That's when this part will go up and this part will come down. So that's the ideal situation, but just like literally the representation does not say that. So miss, you would understand these situations in a much better way if you study the protein interaction type of mechanism. Again, here also it does not say anything as such, but yeah, I assume you got what I was trying to say. So it's not literally the either of these things, or especially the synaptonymal is complex is passing through inside, but it is around the chromatid. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Shall we proceed then?
Yes.
Is
Okay.
it like a tunnel sort of thing?
uh
So when you say tunnel, do you mean like it's around the chromosome?
so wait, where is that thing again? Which one was I explaining? This one, I guess. Yeah. So that tunnel thing that I was referring to is actually, no, this is not the right one. Where is this one? Yeah. So for example, when you look at this now, the proteins that are being shown here, they are all located here, right? But that is not the proteins. No, proteins, these are actually three-dimensional structure which are far bigger than the individual DNA molecules, right? Or what we call as nucleotides, which is ultimately composition of the chromosomes. Now if these chromosomes, they are going through the synaptonymal complex, then the nucleotide is so tiny and the protein complex is like literally huge, and that way then these individual strand is going through that synaptonymal complex, and that's when I like made an analogy like a tunnel. Yeah, so diagram may not represent it in the same way like how it actually happens, but that is how it happens in the natural course of protein to chromatid interaction.
And so at the point where it is, can you say mixing with the protein, at that point it is connected, both the chromosomes.
Even this part is connected. This is a whole complex. It's actually a huge complex. Synaptonymal. That's when I was trying to look for the actual structure, but I couldn't find it so easily. But yeah, so this whole thing is actually a synaptonymal complex, whole of it, right? And only at the specific junction where it has to cross, like if you see the specific arrangement of 3 3 and 3 3 here, that's where I would assume the exchange is happening. So it will break here, it will break here, it will get exchanged, and so on. So the representations are not perfect here.
The synaptonymal complex is always there.
No, it is brought in during the cell division process.
So it covers like the whole thing, or at least a lot of it. And at one particular point in that entire thing where it's surrounding the chromosome, at one particular point, it'll exchange the thing so that crossing over happens.
That is right.
So when this is going on, if the synaptonymal complex is able to reach that place, then the crossing over happens. And if it doesn't reach that place, then the crossing over doesn't happen.
What do you mean doesn't reach that place?
So you said that it's brought over during mitosis.
So during meiosis phase,
Yeah.
Obviously all the proteins, they are synthesized in the last phase, that is G2. Proteins will be there, they just have to form a complex after a certain course of event. They will form a complex, the genome or the chromosomes, they will be always there. So there is, I don't know why it should not go.
I guess he's asking is, you said it's coming from outside the cell, right? Or maybe it's produced inside the cell and it's coming into the nucleus during.
No, but during
meiosis.
prophase, the nuclear membrane disappears, so it's all cytoplasmic space.
Okay, so wherever that protein is formed, it comes and it interacts only during meiosis, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so suppose it takes time to come there, some amount of time, and meiosis is already happening. So then crossing over won't happen.
No, that does not happen. So then that cell will not undergo the division process. That cell will be discarded.
No, sir. What I meant to say was that like Akshay said, but like sometimes crossing over happens, sometimes it doesn't happen.
Correct.
So is it because of the presence or absence of the synaptonomal complex, or is it that the synaptonomal complex is present but it's not able to do its job?
No, crossing over sometimes does not happen because this genetic code says so, right?
Okay. So it's,
and then obviously the synaptonymal complex, where even if it is being present, it may not show the crossing over, right? So there are different sequence of event, what we call as permutations and combinations. There are all these different possibility. One possibility be the genetic code describe that the crossing over should not happen. Second possibility would be genetic code says crossing over should happen, but the same homologous or same sort of segment of this chromosome, they are getting exchanged. So even after chromosome exchange, what you are getting is the same thing. Third scenario is the crossing over happening, and then that crossing over can happen with 2 sister chromatid or 3 or so, and depending on what is the crossing over percentage. So these are different situations.
So if a gene says that like crossing over won't happen, and like there's no like around it, there's no other gene that says crossing over happens. So for that segment, crossing over won't happen. So like it'll never happen. Then the gene will keep on getting passed for so many generations. So we can find out when crossing over happens and crossing over doesn't happen if we know the gene, right? Then
so it is not even like that. So what usually happens is, so there are several of these checkpoints, what we call as, even meiosis has several checkpoints, mitosis also has several checkpoints. So during this checkpoint, let's say after S phase or during G2 phase, it will check if certain amount of protein, whichever is required within the cell, is formed or not. Now, when we say of checkpoint, we literally imagine of a ticket check counter. That's not something what it happens in the cell. There is a protein to protein or molecule to molecule interaction which happens, which leads to certain course of action within the cell. And that is what is a checkpoint. If that event does not get triggered, that means there is some fault, and then the repair mechanism comes into picture, right? So if the moment we talk of these crossing overs, right, and of the synaptonymal complex coming and like kind of crossing the segments of this chromosome, there will be all these checkpoints which is taking care of each and every step. And if it is not happening, it will undergo a repair mechanism. If it is still not happening, it will go directly to the phagocytosis, that is killing of the cell. So that way it happens. So the moment we assume certain condition, that may or may not be always true, because body or the cell will always have a backup mechanism. Like simplest example I can give you is in some of the cases what happens is, let's say genes, if they are default causing like by default, if they are causing some damage to the cell. So for example, if a particular gene being present inside the cell, that is causing a harm to that, let's say, cell division process, right? Then cell has a mechanism to chop off that gene sometimes, yeah, and that may or may not happen. Then there comes the masking mechanism. Then probably the genetic code that is present, that might just mask that particular gene, or it will cause the expression of the antagonizing protein. So there are several such mechanisms by which body takes care of all such events. I don't know what were we talking. I
So
lost it.
suppose something like that, the backup mechanism doesn't work. Is that how you get cancer?
So cancer is a totally different mechanism altogether. What happens in cancer is there is a stage where so there are these proteins. Let's say, for example, there are certain cell division proteins which are called as cyclin, CDK, cyclin dependent kinases, or P53, or all these. Like there are quite a few. So let's say, even if we talk of these cyclin dependent kinases, that is CDK proteins, if they are altered, these proteins, they are the ones to check if the mitosis or meiosis is happening properly. Now, if there is a mutation in this process, that means the mitosis or meiosis is not happening properly. And then that leads to the uncontrolled growth. And that is what is your cancer. And of course, the expression of certain tumorigenic proteins, like P53 is one of them. That means they identify certain cancer cell by expression of those antigens or proteins on the surface of this cancer cell, and that is the indication of that particular area is cancer infected, right? So this is how the cancer happens. It is like that. There are like literally thousands of protein which are involved in the cancer progression. So like that is totally a different mechanism altogether.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so then we will come back to this mechanism of the crossing over. So I will just go through it. It might just look very textual here, but it's very simple and nothing like so difficult to understand. Just few terminologies that I will explain. So during prophase 1 of meiosis, that is meiosis 1, the maternal and paternal chromosome of the homologous pair, they come closer and at the synaptotene, or what we call as zygotine substage, right? That coming closer of this homologous pair is known as synapsis, right? We know synapse is a junction, right? So this is also a junction, or a kind of coming closer of this homologous pair of chromosome, that is known as synapsis. And these homologous pair, they lie side by side and coil around each other, forming a bivalent molecule, right? Bivalent because there are two in a pair, and that's what is bivalent, and a molecular scaffold called synaptonymal complex aligns the DNA molecule of this homologous chromosome. So in first stage of the mechanism, that is the synapsis, two homologous pair of chromosome, they will come closer, and this particular complex of these two chromosome is called as bivalent, and the process is called as synapsis. And after this synapse of the homologous pair of chromosome has happened, the molecular scaffold means a different layer, so different layers of molecule, that is your synaptonymal complex, or I guess that's what SC stand for. It aligns the DNA molecule again from this homologous pair of the chromosome of the two homologous chromosome. Aligns in the sense, that is what I told you in the first diagram, that it forms like kind of tunnel like structure through which these chromatids can go through. So that is the first stage, synapsis. Like if you have any problem in understanding, please stop me then and there itself. Yeah. Second stage, that is duplication of chromosome. Now during the Pachytene stage, each of the homologous chromosome in the bivalent splits longitudinally into two sister chromatids, right? And thus the bivalent now consists of 4 chromatids. So that is the duplication event, and then it is known as tetrad. So from bivalent it goes to tetrad stage, that is the 4 like pairs, not 4 pairs, there are 2 pairs, and the longitudinal splitting of the chromosome is caused by the separation of already duplicated DNA. So that already duplicated DNA comes from the synthesis phase. Here just the pairing happens. Here the 2 more sister chromatids, they come into picture, and that's when they form the tetrad. And then the this particular longitudinal splitting is specifically caused due to the already duplicated DNA. So that is duplication of chromosome. Third stage in the mechanism is the crossing over. So now this is very important. Crossing over and chiasma formation. Now in crossing over, this occurs the 4 strand stage, that is the tetrad stage, during the Pachytene stage, when the chromatids of the homologous chromosome, they twist over each other, and this twisting is regulated by your synaptonymal complex. During now diplotin stage, when the paired chromosomes, they start separating, the non-sister chromatid as in the ones which are from different chromosomes, and they are crossed with each other, they remain in contact with one or more points. That is what is called as chiasma, and the points of contact, they are chiasma or chiasmata. Chiasma is singular and chiasmata, that is the plural form of it. So I guess let me show you here in this diagram. So you can see here that there are already duplicated copies. Individually they will align to each other. So that's what is bivalent stage, and due to the formation of the synaptonymal complex, after the splitting of this individual part, they will form a tetrad like structure. Right now here it is shown as bivalent, that is individual bivalent, but this total complex will be the tetrad stage, after which the chiasmata formation happens. Okay, and also in some of the reference book that I have referred to, it says bivalent with respect to pair. Yeah, then it is actually a tetrad, because a pair is already having 2. So that bivalent of a pair means a tetrad. Yeah, so just be little aware of these facts. Here it shows bivalent, but that actually means a tetrad formation. Yeah, so and then these point of contacts which are formed, these are called as, individually they will be called as chiasma, and if there are two or more, that is called as chiasmata, that is in the plural form. So during this diplotin stage, when paired chromosome they start separating, the non-sister chromatid they remain in contact at the chiasmata contact points. So that is what is the third stage of the crossing over and the chiasma formation. And at each of these chiasma, that is at each of this junction between two non-sister chromatids, the of the bivalent break at the corresponding point. So obviously, like I said, that twisting of the synaptonemal complex happens. It will break the bond between those particular DNA fragments, and it will kind of switch and then rejoin with the exchange of the segment, forming the chromatids with the segments of two non-sister chromatids. Right. So that way, again, I assume that this part is clear to you, because this we had already like explained earlier. And in terminalization, after exchange of the segment, the non-sister chromatid of the homologous chromosome, they start repelling each other. Now again, this is a part of synaptonemal complex, right? There is certain change in the synaptonemal complex, so the proteins they enlarge in size, that is due to the breaking of the bond between them, which is again a course of biochemical reaction, and due to which these strands which have exchanged the material, they will start repelling each other, and the chromatids they will separate from the centromere towards the tip, and the chiasmata they are shifted towards the tip. Now chiasmata they are shifted towards the tips means, like if at all that junction is not required, or if at all the double crossover is required, that's when this shifting happens. Now double crossover, what I mean is, I guess this particular diagram will help quickly understand. This is what is double crossover, right? Two strands with double crossover. So here also it is happening, here also it is happening. On contrary, in this diagram, if you see, there is only single crossover. So that is why the chiasmata has to shift towards the tip, and ultimately it has to fall up from the chromatid structure, so that it can like it can allow the these chromatids to enter further into the next stages of meiosis, right? There are no proteins which are involved after the separation of the chromatid. So obviously, like if like I assume, like during this stage, for example, at the chiasma point, if this synaptonemal complex, it is still hold, like if it is still around this chiasma points, then the separation of the chromatids will be difficult stage, right? So that protein for complexes, whichever are around the chiasma, that has to fall off next to the tip. And that is when these spindle fiber will attach to the kinetochore, and then it will move on to the next stages of meiosis. So that is what it is referring to. And the moment of chiasmata towards the end is known as terminalization. So that particular final moment of the chiasmata towards the end of the chromatids, that is terminalization. So in diakinesis, the homologous chromosome becomes separated except their ends. Now at the end, the chiasma will be at the end. So let's say at the end stage, no, this may not explain. Now here the pointing of the chromosomal ends or the chromatid ends, they are pointed to the side. So you may not be able to imagine that this being together with the synaptonemal complex or the proteins from there, and then they are like kind of the chiasma is moving towards the end. So, and that is when I gave you that idea of what we say, the tunnel.
So like at every point, the two sister chromatids will be connected at some point of time, like at different points of time.
Yeah, kind of, yes, true. So I don't know where that, yeah. So this one, yeah, so you can see like slowly this whole complex will keep moving along the length of the chromatid, and then finally at the end what you will see is this complex with the chiasmata junction, between two sister or two non-sister chromatid, depending on what is getting crossover. And there the ultimately it will be, when it is at the end, that stage is called as terminalization, and then ultimately it has to remove itself from the whole of this chromatid structure so that it can go further for the meiosis process. I hope this part is clear to everyone. Are there any questions in this mechanism? 4 stages: synapsis, where the synapses form, that is the coming closer of the homologous pair. Duplication of the chromosome, that is where the tetrad is formed from bivalent to tetrad formation. Then actual crossing over with the synaptonymal complex, where the ends will be, not ends, segments will be switched over, and that junction is called as chiasma or chiasmata, depending on how many. And at the end, when the chiasma it reaches the tip of those sister chromatid, that is terminalization, and ultimately it just falls up. Okay, any question here again? Okay, so I assume there are no questions there. Now let's quickly look at the types of crossing over. So like I already explained in a brief, and here there are like quite simply explained. So there are actually 3 main types, or 2 main types. Multiple can be considered as double crossing over. So single crossing over, that is the crossing over happens only at one junction. So there is only one chiasma that is being formed. And then what you get as like, let me just show you here.
Oh, sir. So wherever the chiasma it passes through, that point is exchanged.
Huh? No. Not always. At specific point only it will get exchanged.
So, but if you see the diagram, isn't it like that?
Again, I need not mention now every now and then. These are just the representations. Yeah.
Still, I mean,
The chiasma is there everywhere. Inside this thing, there is few particular points on the protein which exchange the thing, DNA.
You imagine, no, Pratham, now if it is going through the any random point, then in some cases, in between the gene itself, let's say a gene is, let's say 5,000 base pair, and that chiasma is formed at, let's say 2,500 base pair. Do you think half of the gene will be split in the crossing, or no, right?
so, but see the diagram, right? If you see the second diagram,
Correct.
like, if you see the second diagram, it just got exchanged. If you see the third diagram, the top like the middle 2 layers are the same because it got exchanged twice, one by this chiasma and one by this chiasma. You see, both, like, one went to this side and one went to this side, right?
Correct.
So it explains it. I mean, it's a representation. Fine, like, I got it.
So, and in double crossing over, there are 2 chiasmata which are formed, and like I said, chiasmata is plural. Again, these are the kind of keywords that you need to pay attention to, where to use chiasma and where to use chiasmata. Yeah. So even in MCQ, I had seen in one of the exam, this question was asked, that what is chiasma, means like there was some question and answer in the options. You had both the options. So depending on if it is single, we use chiasma. If it is double or more than 2, we can call it chiasmata. So in double crossing over, there are further types, that is reciprocal double crossing over, right? Now this diagram may not explain the reciprocal type, but it actually occurs at 2 places between the same non-sister chromatid, resulting in 2 parental types and 2 double crossover, which is ultimately similar to this. Yeah, that is 2 parental types and 2 crossed over, what we say, the non-parental combinations. In complementary double crossing over, it occurs when more than 2 chromatids, that is 3 or 4 chromatids, undergo crossing over. So something like this, right? 1, 2, 3. These 3 are getting involved in the chiasma formation, and that is when I say this is not just the passing over of the chromatid through the like what that synaptonymal complex. It's actually whole of the complex is around it, and that is when this even the other chromatid which are homologous tetrad, that can also get exchanged, and that is what is being shown here, right? And here it is another example where all the four are getting rather kind of getting exchanged, right? Not four as such, but then it can happen if it is the middle two are also getting exchanged, and you can see the first one and the last one they are getting exchanged here. So there are various possible combinations of these genetic recombinations, and that is what we know as crossing over. So in complementary, there are more than like two chromatids involved, and the crossing over happens. You again between the non-sister chromatid. If all the four chromatids they undergo crossing over, no parental recombination are formed. So obviously, if all four of them they are kind of exchanging some segment with the other chromatid, there will be no parental combination. If let's say three are getting involved, then there is one parental combination. You can see the upper blue, and the three will be non-parental recombination. If there are only two getting involved, there will be two parental and two non-parental. So that way, this complementary double crossing over function. And the last type, that is the multiple crossing over, that is when more than two chiasmata are formed along the length of chromosome, and it occurs very rarely. Like I said, the multiple crossing over more than two, that is three or four or even more, which is a very rare event of the crossing over if that happens. And there may be depending on how long is the chromosome, that is possible. Usually the chromosomes that we have, they are relatively short in terms of like, though they have like few thousands or few tens of thousands of base pair, these are still relatively what we say small.
But if the chiasma is formed at the center, it will like anyway split into two, right? When it's going towards the terminal ends.
No, but why are you assuming that it has to happen at the center?
Well, unless it happens at the end, it happens somewhere in between, right?
No, it can happen anywhere. No, that is when
Yeah, that's what. So, like if we if we say that there's equal like probability that happens anywhere throughout the length of the chromosome, since the middle portion is much longer than only the ends, the chiasmata will most probably form somewhere in the somewhere throughout the length of the chromosome, right? And not exactly at the center, like probably. And then it is split into two.
So my assumption is, I don't know if we are going to talk about this same thing, but my assumption is, let's say whole of this tetrad is going to pass through the complex. So starting from this side until here, and at specific points only, it will stop, it will flip, it will exchange, it will move forward. So that is what I assume the process happens to be. So I don't know, the moment you say it is happening at the middle, it does not mean that synaptonymal complex starts forming at the center and then it moves in either of the direction. Is that what?
No, sir. I'm talking about the chiasma, not the complex.
But chiasma is formed due to the complex only.
Yeah, it can be formed anywhere, right? So let's just say it forms at some place. Take any random place, not at the end. Like not at the very end. Like not middle is okay. Like maybe 10 per, like maybe 1/4 of the distance.
Correct.
So half, like some of it will go that way and some of it will go that way, right?
Correct.
And the chromosomes are separating. So like in most cases, two chiasmas will be formed. So like it won't really be rare then, right? It'll be very common.
More than two is rare. Two is still a common phenomenon. Double crossing over is still fine. This
So
is
It said something else, I think.
It's more than,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
More than 2.
more than 2 chiasmatum. That is
Okay.
rare phenomena. Like third one or fourth one, that is when I said those numbers, 3 or more.
Okay, so 2 is normal. So normally how it takes place. Yeah,
Normal.
got it.
Okay, so these are the different types of crossing over. And again, with respect to the factors which will affect the crossing over, same, depending on the distance. And I don't think I need to explain this. Yeah, these are like self-explanatory, and you can also refer to those description which we had for the linkage. It just in linkage, the phenomena is a tendency of chromosomes, or sorry, the genes being together, and here crossing over is flipping off or exchanging of the material. But the like kind of mechanism that still remains the same in terms of factors which will affect. So I will not explain this here. I will prefer to stop. If you have any more questions, we can take it. Next class, we will be looking at this particular part, what we call as chromosomal mapping. It's just a small and very interesting part, especially like this. This will give you another clarity of how the chromosomal mapping is actually done. And then small parties of the sex chromosome, sorry, sex determination. So that we will see further. Okay, any questions here?
Sir, I had a question, but not related to this.